Hi there and welcome. My name is AJ Pueden, and welcome to the 6 pillars that will enable you to take charge of your destiny, and you do that through self-mastery. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Let me ask you a question. Are you in the process of chasing your dreams in the pursuit of happiness for a better tomorrow, only to find out that things stop you? Things get in your way. How many of you are in a place right now where you didn't expect to be, or perhaps you thought you would be, much further along in your process by this time? And how many of you were like doing pretty well on your journey, or just like hanging in there? Then all of a sudden, this whole COVID stuff hits, whole society kind of breaks down, and a lot of changes going on right now. So how many of you are in that place to where, okay, I was on path, but now I've kind of got knocked down, and you know what? But I'm not out. I'm not out of the game, and I'll still want to go out there and make some change. Well, you know what? You're not alone. A lot of people are going out there pursuing their dreams, and I love those types of people. You're the type of people I love, right? The people who say this is not all there is. Whether you like or not like where you are right now, what you know is there's more later on, and yet that pursuit of that dream, that pursuit of that destiny, that pursuit of that better tomorrow can be pretty challenging at times, right? And so if in that response, there's a lot that I see on the internet right now. There's a lot on Facebook, a lot of places out there giving out solutions, a lot of solutions. In my world, my Facebook feed gives me a lot of coaching type programs, how to be a coach, how to get higher clients, how to different types of coaching programs on different types of programs on internet marketing, on Bitcoin, on relationships, on lots of different things, and real estate, stocks, markets, and lots of those things, right? And right now, everyone's doing what's most popular, and that is how to make more money right now, right? And that's a majority of what's out there. And if that is what you're looking for, then that's great. There's a lot out there for you. However, if you're not most people and you already kind of know what you want, but you just haven't gotten there, and what's being offered doesn't work for you, if you're feeling like lost in all the different programs and the courses and the opportunity that you're seeing out there, they just don't seem right, or they don't fit right? Those who can't seem to find a coach or a mentor or a community that feels right to them, then I'm talking to you, right? I'm talking to those who don't feel like they fit in the regular box. You're the one I'm talking to. Now, at the same time, there's another group of people, or actually another side of every individual. There's a part of you that, thinks that perhaps, boy, really, it's time to stand up. Society needs to change. Our culture needs to change. The governments need to do something about this, right? And others and people, they need to start being a certain way. Well, if you're in that particular place, or there's a part of you that's in that place, I think that's great. The world definitely does need to be a better place. And right now, this conversation isn't about that, right? I'm talking to the part of you that realizes, or ask yourself, what is it that I can do? You're in a place of what can I do? Where's the solution? What is my part in that? And you realize whatever change happens in the world, even when they change, for you to get to where you want, you've got to change too. It starts with you. Then if you're that person, which you probably are, or at least a part of you is, then I'm talking to you there, right? Now, so as we go, prepare for the future. Oh my gosh, right? There's so much uncertainty. What's happening next? What's going to happen next? In this change, well, I'm the expert, and I've in change. Like, I've been in this process for over 34 years, helping people get their life to that next level, create that change in their life. And some of the most common challenges that people have is, one, time. There's just not enough time to do what you're doing now and to start creating another life. It's like, look, there's 24 hours in a day, not 48 hours in a day, right? At the same time, for some people, many people, money is also a challenge, right? There's just not enough cash flow. In there. There's not enough savings, or just a limited number of savings and investments, right? And so it takes money to make money, they say, right? Or the thing that you want is going to take some more money to do that, right? Not everything takes money, but definitely money will help, right? Some things that we want, it takes money. And it can cost you, it'll cost you money to take that vacation, to spend that quality time with your family, money for education, money for the hobbies that lead you to a sense of personal achievement, to have the ability to have those experiences that lead to personal growth, right? It takes even money for you not to go to work, right? Like you could go to a great experience, but you need enough money to take time off work, right? And do those things that are important to you in your life. So let me ask you, once you have the time and once you have the money and you invest in the growth, and into your dreams and that better tomorrow, time, money, good. Just go out there and buy it, and now you have it, right? Is it that way? No. No, because it takes more than time and money, and it's not even about the time and money, right? Having time and money will give you the opportunity to grow yourself, to become who you need to be in order to create the lifestyle that you want. We call that self-mastery, right? Being your best, being happy. That's what we're actually looking for. We're looking for being happy is what it's all about, right? And yet, oh my gosh, right now, I know some of the most positive, optimistic people, and they're feeling knocked down right now because there's so much negativity programming out there right now. And so if you feel a little bit knocked down, a little knocked off track, you're not alone, and you're not out of the game yet. Right? You can get up, you can do more. And now you need to be very careful about your next moves, right? Otherwise, the next phase of your life, it's going to be just like the last phase of your life, right? And if you want to secure your lifestyle, and more importantly, continue the pursuit of your dream life and a better tomorrow, well then you're going to need to solve, you're going to need to evolve, you're going to need to grow, right? And so what do most people do when they find themselves in this place, when they're ready to go for more, right? Well, most other people, they tend to go for the money programs, right? But they're only going for the money, thinking money will solve everything. So they invest in training, group coaching programs, personal coaching programs, masterminds, all sorts of things under a whole array of lots of different topics that will help them make money. And the challenge is, it's not that most people don't know what to do. It's that they can't get themselves to do it. They don't have the self-mastery or the emotional discipline and motivation and commitment to do what it takes. So there's two parts of your mind. You've got your IQ, which is the cognitive part of your brain. That's the intelligence, that's the knowledge, the skills that you learn, right? And then there's the EQ, the emotional side of things, the things that makes you happy, sad, motivated, the things that will keep you disciplined, right? And so what I've seen is people, let me give you an example. I meet someone and they're taking a real estate course on how to do a real estate investment, right? Now, let's say they take 4 seminars, and let's assume that those seminars are good seminars. Have they learned how to do a real estate investment transaction deal? Yes, but they haven't done it yet, right? What is their challenge? Their challenge is motivation, self-discipline, work ethic, those sort of things. And so because they haven't done a deal, what do? They go to a 5th seminar, right? They're trying to solve an EQ problem with an IQ solution. And that isn't it, right? So if you want to get out there, there's plenty of programs that are IQ solutions. How to do this, how to do that, right? But no matter what you do, there's going to be the EQ side of things, and that's the ability to do it, right? And so you've got to also work on that. And so when you can work on the EQ side, then any IQ is going to be great, right? So if what you're doing is working for you, fantastic, that's great, right? If you're going out there taking those courses, I think that's good. You're learning, you have to know that. Right? If you're in a great position, right, to invest time and money into those sort of things, and now you got to invest time and money into yourself, right? Knowing what to do is a great start. And yet I know people who have spent thousands of dollars to learn programs like real estate, and yet they've never done the deal yet still, right? at the same time, I have a friend of mine who bought a $20 book, right, from the bookstore, and when they were open, and then he did a deal within 3 months from a $20 book, not spending thousands of dollars. So if you're that type of person who just needs to know what to do and then you get it done, that's awesome. My guess is that you're truly a great leader in your community. But if just reading a book on what to do isn't enough to get the results for you, then I understand. That's the way it is with a lot of other people. Other people are struggling, to understand the new concepts. They actually need to be taught that, or developing those skills, and not just developing the skills, getting good at it, right? Some people are finding that taking action on the new content or the new stuff is the challenge, right? So they learn a lot, but implementing it, doing it is their challenge. And most I have found that out there is that there's a whole lot of things just getting in their way, right? So they might invest in learning how to do something, and yet when they have a challenge with things getting in the way, like their mindset, a lack of resources, maybe they have other obligations, other pressing challenges in their life, all those things could stop them. So they invest thousands of dollars on how to do something that they can't even get started with, right? And so left on their own, most people that I have seen out there who are struggling don't have enough self-mastery to push through these obstacles to get even the opportunity to stick with it long enough to get the results. So what we need are a new solution. We need new solutions, right? We need new resources. We need strategies on how to take on new things, right? We need follow through. We need to be able to move through that. At the same time, what were the two big obstacles that we mentioned before? Time and money. Time. Who has the time to do something new, right? So here's some key things. Maybe if we can shorten the learning time. What can we do to shorten the learning time, right? That seems to be one of the things that is an obstacle. At the same time, I see one obstacle that people have is not setting a realistic time to learn. It's like, okay, I've got 3 months to turn things around. I'm going to take this course, and then I'll be making, high six figures in the next 3 months. No, that's not, in a lot of cases, that's not realistic. You need time to learn the process, time to practice it, time to get through it, right? And the time and so with time being a very limited resource, you need to make better use of your time, right? By the way, if you haven't figured it out, I'm not using a lot of slides up on the screen, so you better be taking notes, right? So I'm just going to say that right now. I hope you're taking a lot of notes, if you're missing some things, hopefully there'll be a replay of this, or you can reach out to me and we'll see about how you can get a replay of this, right? So anyways, you need to master, you need to learn how to master time, right? Because that is such a precious resource, and we're not going to get any more of it, right? Most people, they're either working too hard and they're not getting enough, and yet what are they going to do? They can't work any harder. They're already working 80 hours a week, right? And then there's a lot of people I know that think they're working full time, and they're really only having a couple hours productive times a day, right? So they need to learn to get rid of the time wasters. The time wasters that are going on, right? You need to reduce the learning time. Learn to learn. Become a speed learner, not just a speed reader, a speed learner, right? The other resource that we talked about is money, right? You need to reduce your waste. You need to invest better in your learning, be wiser where you learn and what you learn. Realize it may take more time, more money than you think, because you can go into learning a process, but you might actually have to invest in marketing. You might have to invest in equipment. You might have to invest in resources. You might have to invest in some other things. So just making the one investment to learn isn't enough. You're going to need capital, to take your life to the next level. And ask yourself, how could this take less money? For example, I want to join this mastermind. And there was a lot of people there. And my mentor, my coach was asking, well, what's the reason you want to take this course? Well, I can meet this person, do this deal. He goes, so do you know these people? Well, kinda, but if I spent more time with them, it'll help a lot. He goes, okay, so you just want to spend more time with these particular people. Could you call them? Could you take them out to lunch? Could you donate a couple $1,000s to their charity, and would they have lunch with you instead of spending $20,000 on a mastermind? Oh yeah, right? Is there a way that it might cost you less? Where can you save money and where can you make money, right? And how can you deal with the money that you have more carefully, right? At the same time, if you're taking your life, your business, your pursuits, to a new level, you're going to need to be someone more. You're going to need to evolve yourself, be at your very best. And we can define, people by and looking at them, their success closely by looking at their habits. You need the ability to take consistent action, to follow through. When you're developing those habits, oftentimes it helps to have support, community, accountability. So put these elements into your life to develop new habits that will help you be the person that is the next evolved version of you to live that life, right? So during this time together, in the next few moments, you're going to discover how to take control of your life, right? All these things that I talked about, how to take control of your life, why self-mastery is so important, and I'm going to give you 6 pillars that you can use to take charge of your destiny and create self-mastery in your life, right? And realize what you do today will change your trajectory of what your tomorrow is going to look like, right? So, when it comes to education, I feel like there's two types of education out there. There's what I call vehicles and what I call amplifiers. Vehicles are the way that you create success, or maybe you make money, right? That's like real estate, internet marketing, Amazon, books, whatever that is, right? That's a vehicle, right? And then there's amplifiers. Amplifiers are those type of things that you invest in yourself that makes you a better person. Those are the things that give you the ability to do what it takes, right? So no matter what it is that you want to do, no matter what it is, you are going to be the common key factor in all change in your life, right? So you absolutely must be in control of your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. You must have self-mastery. Without it, the world controls you, right? And that could be a very hard thing to admit, that you're really kind of a victim of your circumstances, that you're so easily influenced, right? And because if you can't control yourself, you can't do anything about the things around the world around you. If it's, you start to blame others, you take on a victim mentality, so, I don't mean to hurt, but I do mean to kind of press that thing. You got to get out of that. And we get that through self-mastery. Now, what is self-mastery? Well, there are 4 levels of consciousness. There's what we call the unconscious incompetency. That is, you don't know what you don't know, right? There's the conscious incompetency. Now you don't know how to do something, right? Then there's the conscious competency, meaning you know how to do something and you can do it and you have to put thought into it. You concentrate on it, you look at it, right? And then there's what really creates a habit, and that's subconscious competency. This is where you've done it so many times, it's just natural, it's a given, it's easy for you, right? It's easy for you to follow through. It's easy for you to pick up that phone and make that phone call. It's easy for you to do what it takes. It's easy for you to follow through with things, right? That's where we want to get to. Subconscious competency, that with the habits that affect many areas of our lives, from our business to our relationships to our own personal well-being to our health, right? And so right now is the best time to work on this, right? There's more need for change now than ever, right? And yet so many other people are looking for other people to change and not them, right? They're blaming, they're victim. It's this whole cancel culture. If you don't do this, we're going to cancel you, right? And yet canceling all those things doesn't get you ahead. Bring other people down, or okay, that's not necessarily fair, right? But it still doesn't have anything to do with you, right? And so, yes, we might want to change the world, but we also realize that change starts with you, starts with us, starts with you and me. And taking responsibility puts that into our power. So even there's a great book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, and he talks about taking responsibility, extreme responsibility, even when there's probably some justification, right? It may really be someone else's fault or someone else's influence, but by doing that, it means I can't do anything. So by taking responsibility, whether it's your fault or not, it may not be your fault that something happened, but it definitely is your responsibility from this point on to make a change, to be the very best at where you are, right? And so you are going to need to be at your very best. Self-mastery is not something you have, right? You don't say, okay, I've got self-mastery. Self-mastery is something that you do. I'll say that again. Self-mastery is something that you do. And it takes practice. It takes a lifetime of practice. It's something that you never necessarily achieve. It's something that you get better and better at, right? It's the pursuit of being a better you, a stronger you, to be the best you, the best version of you. And so I have been in this process for over 34 years. Since I was 14 years old, I've been in the business of personal development, people taking their lives to the next level. And even as a teenager, I've been behind the scenes witnessing literally millions of people in their journey of success. And I've been able to see over a 34-year span. So I've been able to see what works, what doesn't work, what works short term, what works long term, just case after case of what gets in their way, right? And so I want to share with you 6 key things I believe are absolute pillars in order to create permanent change and to create personal, permanent empowerment and more self-mastery in your life, right? And I'll tell you, my whole life I have learned to I've been groomed, raised to take care of myself, right? Even when I started to create opportunities for myself, right? I started when I was a teenager, I was going to seminars, right? And yet, what other 17, 16-year-old kid was going to seminars? None. So I started actually going to a seminar next week, and I would teach what I learned. I was doing that in high school, right? It is taking charge of your environment, taking charge of your destiny, taking charge of creating the change that you want. I would call high school meetings with the groups that I belonged to that were not, done by the teacher, and yet people came. I wanted to be an entertainer, and instead of waiting for someone else to hire me to do a show, I just created my own variety show and sold tickets, right? I created my own opportunities, and I realized that if I was going to evolve, I'm going to have to work on self-mastery. And anytime I want to learn something, I wanted to learn it as if I was going to become a master at it. I was going to learn it as if I was going to teach it. When I took ballroom dancing, I learned from 7-time international world champion ballroom dancers. When I took martial arts, I learned from a grandmaster. Even when I wanted to learn how to take care of my family, defend my family, I just didn't take a self-defense course. I took a bodyguard course, anti-kidnapping course, right? I go to the extremes of, how can I master this? Because it wasn't just getting good at it. It was getting good at it fast and realizing that success leaves clues, right? And so I always look to learn from the very best. And yet, although, really works out for me and it's been a just amazing life, I realize there's challenges other people have, right? And it's not necessarily, it's not what you learned in a class or an online course or in a seminar or a mastermind. It's not about what you learn in class. It's about what you do outside of that class. It's about what you are doing when no one else is looking. That is a deciding factor between those that succeed and those that struggle, right? It's what you do when no one else is looking, when you're no longer in class, right? So if you're out there on the world on your own and you're looking to do your best, build a business or a dream life worth living, all for a better tomorrow, then I get it. and yet it's not easy, right? Going after your dreams, it's a lot of work, a lot of hard work. And we know that just doing the same thing the same way isn't going to help you get the results that you want, right? It's not going to get you to where you want to go. And while you're, for example, if you're building a business, it seems like you have to deal with so much more other than your business, right? It's like you have to master so many different things: time, health, family, mindset. And it can be all overwhelming, right? Very overwhelming. One may start to wonder if they even got what it takes to succeed. And in that struggle is where many other people get stuck, right? Or worse, they quit, right? We have been taught how to build a business, and yet we're not taught how to live the entrepreneurial lifestyle. We have families, yet we're not taught how to be a leader. We're taught health, and yet we're not taught how to be at peace. We're taught the importance of people around us, and yet oftentimes we go at it alone, right? We're juggling a tidal wave of to-do items, so much to do, and so much not getting done. You need to work harder, and yet you need to slow down and take care of yourself. Oh wait, there's people around us too, right? We need to take care of them, our families, our teams, our partnerships, our friends. Geez, I'm just trying to get my own life together, and now I gotta take care of other people too? Yes. Right? So what do most people do? We spend thousands of dollars for the hopes of that magic wand that will take care of it all. That one thing that will solve everything and bring it into alignment. Overwhelm comes from too much to do. Frustration comes from doing so much and not getting anywhere. And it's depressing to think that's just the way life is, right? And yet the answer to our challenges is often elusive. Just as we think we've got it, the answer always seems to be something else. We study marketing, and the answer is sales. We study sales, the answer is action. We study action, the answer is mindset. We study mindset, the answer is commitment. We study commitment, the answer is management. We study time management, the answer is balance. We study balance, and the answer is health. And it goes on, a never-ending circle, hamster wheel for the entrepreneur, right? And sometimes the advice of just do it isn't enough. I wish it was that simple. It is that simple, and it's not that simple. So is there a solution? Fortunately, there is a solution. Now, it's not an easy one, right? These are complex situations, so they have a little bit of a complex solutions, right? If you got a complex situation and you think you've got a simple solution, I bet you it's not going to be thorough enough, right? That's just my experience. And the thing is, it's not just one thing. It's everything, right? Well, you already know that it's everything, and that's why you're overwhelmed. Yet, what if we put everything, all the new things that you're learning, into a system? Many years ago, I took a lot of things that I learned as great advice for writing a presentation, and then I put all that great advice into one template, and I started creating presentations for other people using this template. And in the first year, we did close to $1 million in sales just by doing that. So what if we could do that to a presentation? Could we do that to life? Let's take all the advice that we can get, put it into a system, a template that we can replicate to the best of our ability, that will be constantly growing and growing, evolving us to become the best people that we can be, right? So here are 6 pillars, the 6 pillars I told you about, that will help you take charge of your destiny and help you create more self-mastery in life. And those are core values, living by a code. Are you writing this down? I'll break these down. Core values, living by a code, accountability and metrics, routines and habits, self-discipline and leadership, community and culture, right? So let's take the first one. Life is challenging. It can be. Or if it's not challenging, if you're in the pursuit of your dreams and getting something that you don't have or haven't had or haven't done before, and yet you want to experience something new, well, then you're making more challenges, and that's good. It's called evolving. That's called growth, right? So there are big life challenges we all face, right? And when we face these challenges, we need to make big life choices, right? And not knowing which of these choices is the best for you, that's a challenge, right? And so what do most people do? They choose something that feels right, right? And oftentimes it's some sort of money program, right? So that's good. That's good. You know, that's what they're doing. And yet sometimes there's more than just that challenge, right? Some of the shortcomings of just investing in money programs is maybe there's more to it. You know, there's the emotional state. Doing this long term, is it a short term or a long term thing, right? You're thinking about how to fix the immediate problem, but are you really thinking about the path? How, based off of if it doesn't align with your values, well, then it may not be the best thing for you. You may eventually have resentment towards it. You may find out that you don't like it later on. You're doing things that you don't want to do in order to make money. Yes, you made money, but you don't like it, and therefore you won't keep up with it, or you'll sabotage it because you really don't want to do it, right? So core values is what we're looking at. And anytime there is unhappiness, there is something going against one of your values, right? I'll say that again. Anytime you feel unhappiness, unsatisfaction, uncomfortable with something, there's something that's going against one of your values, or it isn't quite aligned, right? So your core values are bold actions to do what it takes that comes from alignment with the values that you hold highest, right? And I was reading this book, and it was talking about the concept of a bento box. A bento box is a Japanese lunch, and it has these four little compartments, four little boxes. And what makes a great meal is that it's not one great entree. It's that there's this little salad, there's some entree, there's some rice with that, there's a little dessert or something. It's what a bento box is. You can look at your values in a very similar way. One is this choice, this choice that you're doing, is it good for you today, right? Is this work in favor of who you are today? Does it align with your values? Now, ask you the next question is, does it align with your values with who you want with your life tomorrow? Right? So something might be short term, but it may not be long term. Or it might be, if I do this long term, but it doesn't fit to me today, it doesn't work either. It has to work for both. Does it work for who you are in your values today? Does it work for who in your values tomorrow? But does it also work for the values and the interest of us today? Us meaning maybe your family, maybe your team, your coworkers, the society, the culture, whoever us is it the people involved, does it work for them today? And does it work for them tomorrow? So you might find that some choices work for other people, but it doesn't work for you. It may work for you today, but it may not work for you or others tomorrow. So you need to kind of figure those out. I've distinguished over 230 core values that I help people evaluate to find out what's most important so that they can align their actions with it. Once they discover these values, then they must live by a code. Now, when people don't, when they're experiencing a lack of confidence, a lack of guidance of what to do, and you're feeling like you're starting all over and over and over again, right? Well, what do most people do, right? They go get motivated. They feel like they need to get motivated in order to take action, and they just, it's like, okay, well, I got to do something, so I'm just going to do the best that I can. And sometimes you're just not going to be motivated, right? I think of it like a go-kart without a track or a destination. It just kind of goes all over the place, right? And when you do that, there's a lot of wasted time, right? A lot of wasted time waiting to feel good, a lot of wasted time doing the wrong things. You're feeling misunderstood. There's no trust in yourself or trust in others. And you end up getting hurt financially, emotionally, mentally, right? And that just builds on top of the lack of confidence, lack of reliability in yourself, and then you just got to start all over again. That's what happens when you just kind of do your best, right? So what helps is to have a code to live by, right? So a law are rules that everyone follows. A code are rules that one chooses to follow by living by a code that influences your decisions and actions, right? This builds up your character when the chips are down, right? And it really plays to that. You know, I could always tell. I always look at someone's character, you know, whether I could rely them or not. Sometimes by playing games, right? Play a game and or add pressure, you know, then you're going to find out what yours or other people's true characters is, right? Now, at the same time, unless you're digging deep, don't judge it. Just kind of note that's where they are right now, and watch their actions. Watch your own actions. So when I say code, there's things like the SEAL code, Navy SEAL code, the code of the samurai. There's a merchant code. There's a code of chivalry, right? And then I have my code as well, right? So it's a set of rules that you choose to live by. You know, look up different ones in history. Start developing one of your own, right? Now, another element that makes a big difference is accountability and metrics, right? One of the biggest challenges I see with people is that they lack follow through. And so when they don't do something, what do? They just try to do it harder, right? Just again, there's no change in the actions or change in the strategy. They just do the same thing again, right? And they call it harder or just more intensely, right? So the challenge with that is they're not focused on what really matters, right? So when you're holding yourself accountable and having metrics, you got to be very specific about what it is you're being accountable to, right? And left on their own, most people will take the path of least resistance, right? So what do we need to do, right? Accountability is the thing that ties commitment to results, right? Without accountability, or there's two types of accountability. There's accountability to others and there's self-accountability. Now, accountabilities with others is very effective, right? At the same time, I look at it kind of like a learning aid. It's kind of like a crutch. Sometimes you need that crutch because you haven't learned how to be self-accountable yet. So you need that to learn, but eventually the idea is to let go of that crutch, let go of that learning aid, those training wheels, right? Eventually you get to self-accountability, and that's what we call commitment, right? Commitment. And I use the word metrics, so I like to use accountability and metrics together. Metrics is how we measure accountability. All the people that I work with, we all create metrics. We all create a spreadsheet, a chart, a graph in order to measure our progress, to measure our accountability and our progress, right? There's a quote that says, "That which is measured improves." Okay, so accountability metrics at the same time. Accountability metrics to do what? One thing is habits and routines. Habits and routines. If you're looking to get more consistent progress, more consistent result, and instead of just trying harder and beating yourself up when you're not doing something, in fact, hey, guess what? You're human, right? And humans resist change. And instead of doing something and restarting again and again, taking a lot of energy, why not create a habit out of it? Why not create a routine out of it? Again, left on their own, most people don't have the self-mastery to push them through the obstacles to get even the opportunity to stick with it long enough to get results. So what we need to do is create routines and habits that will help make it easier for us, to help make success more natural. You'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your success is found in your daily routines, right? So you need to strengthen your work ethic, strengthen your productivity, your mental habits, your action habits, your emotional habits, right? What I mean by emotional habits. So there was this one time I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, oh my gosh, I just feel like so stuck. Stuck. I don't know what else to do. And she looked at me and she goes, are you kidding, AJ? Like, you are so unstuck. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, you've been stuck for the last 4 years, right? And you've been wanting to do the things and you haven't been able to do it. Guess what? all these things that you're listening, this and this and this and this, they're all happening right now. You are so unstuck, you're just in the habit of saying you're stuck. Oh, you're right. I'm not stuck. I just in the habit of feeling that way because look at all these things are moving, right? So that's what I mean by emotional habits, right? We got to change those, right? Our communication habits, and what habits are we giving up, and what habits keep us going, right? And one way to develop those habits is through self-discipline, right? The real problem that I think most people have with self-discipline is that they think they are just the way they are, and that's the way they're always going to be. I believe something different. I believe that there's nothing wrong with where you are, and yet we can always do better, and we can pursue to be better. You got to be happy where you are now, and yet you can also pursue to be even better all the time, right? So others who think they're doing their best, you can do so much more, right? Really, you can do so much more. You can be much better, right? And all it takes is the self-discipline to follow through. Self-discipline begins with mastery of your own thoughts. If you don't control what you think, you can't control what you do, right? And commitment, I like to think of it as the workout gym to commitment, is self-discipline. Strengthen your ability. You got to get stronger at your ability to be committed. People say you're either committed or you're not. Well, you know what? There's some people whose commitments are a lot stronger than other people's commitments, right? So I always tell people, look, I commit way less to things, but when I commit fully, and that's what I think we all need to do, right? So what is it that we're looking for? We're looking for freedom, right? And freedom is, either you're choosing it, or freedom is choosing. Let me get my head right. Freedom. You either need to choose freedom, or something else is going to be chosen for you. If you want time freedom, you need to be time disciplined. If you want money freedom, you need to be financially disciplined. If you want physical freedom, you need physical discipline. If you want mental and emotional discipline, freedom, then you need to be mental and emotionally disciplined as well, right? And one way that we can have all that is by having a community, a culture. And so for a lot of people, if you don't have a strong community or culture, what you end up doing is you end up buying into the masses of what they tell you, and you start believing in all of that, and you end up being the lowest common denominator of the failing average, right? And so what we need to do is we need to take charge of our environment, change what we're surrounding ourselves, change our own community culture by changing our own community around us. Starts with you, and then connecting with other people around you. Support the culture that, a supportive culture can greatly influence our beliefs about what is acceptable, what is expected, as well as whether or not you're positive and productive, right? To some people, if I went outside and I just pulled someone off the street and say, hey, you could become a millionaire in 12 months, they'll think you're crazy, right? That's like winning the lottery. It just doesn't happen. And yet, I was just at an entrepreneur's cruise where there's probably at least 20 or 30 people in that room who probably have done that. And so being in that environment, in that culture, the idea and the possibilities of becoming a millionaire in 12 months is totally possible, while to someone else it isn't. So if we can change the people that we're hanging around, the culture that we're in, change our environment, purposely make shifts to create and nurture that, then we can change our expectations and elevate ourselves as well as everyone else. So how do you put this all into the system? How do you learn more about it? Well, we put it into what we call a path, right? This is why I call the path to freedom, right? This enables you to get ahead, secure a better life, in many areas of your life, more areas of your life, right? You get, it's designed to help you live your dream lifestyle, grow your business in other areas too, right? More money, better relationships and family, better health, better well-being, more fun in life. Who wants more fun, right? And so we do this in a class that we call the Path, right? It's the Path to Freedom. And it has, we teach it in two different formats. We've got it in a 2-week format, right? Where it's 6 classes. It's on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for 2 hours in the early evening or afternoon, depending on what coast you're on, right? And this is probably the more preferred way to take it. It's a 2-week course, six 2-hour classes where you can learn a little bit, assimilate a little bit, and then you can take the next step. Now, at the same time, I know that time is an issue for some people, so we also offer every now and then a 2-day speed class. So watch your screen, the next dates for the 2-week version as well as the 2-day classes are coming up on your screen, and so just keep watching your screen. We'll pop that up. And at this class, it's called The Path, right? You're going to learn how to identify your values. You're going to develop that code. We're going to learn more about accountability and start creating some metrics for you. We're going to start figuring out what are the winning strategies to creating successful routines and being successful at those and creating new habits. We're going to work on self-discipline in your leadership, strengthening your ability to control your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. And we're going to talk about the elements of creating, the actions you can take to build a new community around you, as well as harnessing and nurturing the culture to be one that is supportive of all the people involved with you, right? This is the path to self-mastery. And when we teach live seminars, oftentimes the average seminar is about $1,000 a day. So we teach a hypnosis course that's 5 days, it's $5,000, right? So this is being a 2-day speed class or spread over 2 weeks is an over $2,000 value. Let me ask you, if all this did was help you make decisions that are best for you in your life so that you're not wasting time doing other things that don't impact your life, would it be worth it? And if all this did was help you develop that code, accountability, and create some metrics, helps makes you follow through, do the things that you need to do, would it be worth it? And if it made it easy by creating a community around you and help you, be at your very best, would that be worth it? What could you accomplish in 30 days? What could you accomplish in 3 months, in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years? Would it be worth a $2,000 investment? I'm telling you, a lot of you are spending way more than that right now. And if you're not, it's costing you way more, right? And so what we're doing, we've changed our entire business. We went from an expert model, meaning I'm an expert at something and I'm going to teach you it, to what we call a community-led model, right? Where we're building a community of like-minded people, building community and culture, right? Like-minded people that can support each other and utilize each other's resources. And our goal is to create a movement. So this affects our price point. So the investment isn't $2,000. Your risk-free investment is just, get this, $147. $147 to get the full 2-day class or the 2-week class, your choice. And when I say risk-free investment, I mean it has a money-back guarantee. If after the first day or the first class that you attend, you feel, hey, this isn't exactly the right fit for me, then we'll give you your money back, no questions asked, right? And when you take those courses, I absolutely know that we can create the proper path that is going to help you get that dream life, that better tomorrow that you've wanted, right? And when you act right now, when you sign up right away, the URL, the website is popping up on your screen. Go ahead and write that down or write it into the next part of your browser there. We're going to do something extra, and that is we're going to set you up with a one-on-one personal mentor coaching call, right? A fast action get started type of call. And so when you go to this URL, you're going to start, right? You're going to enroll, right? And make sure that you put your phone number in there, because part of the accountability is that we do a lot of text messaging as well, right? We want to make this easy for you, and we want to be not just there during the class for you. We want to be with you in between the class times, right? We want to work with you in between the class times. So it helps for us to be able to communicate. So we need your email address that you want to use, as well as your full address, because a lot is done by time zones in our portal software, as well as text communication. So we're going to be using all of that. And what's going to happen is, as soon as you sign up, within 24 hours, you're going to get an invitation from our portal, from our software. It's called My Freedom Tracker, and it's going to have you set up your name, set up your password. If you know how, you can upload your picture to it, and then that's how we're going to communicate. You're going to get all the enrollments for when the class schedules for when the classes are, all the assignments, worksheets, resources, metrics. It's all done there in a platform that we can see and we can share, and then we can easily transfer information to you as well. So once again, this is called The Path, and you have two formats to work with. It's either a 2-week class or a 2-day class, and you're going to learn about self-mastery, how to create, develop, and pursue self-mastery. So no matter what it is that you want to achieve, no matter what vehicle you're going to be using, you will be at your best to create that. You'll be able to, and we do that by identifying your values, so we only focus on the things that really matter to you, right? We live by a code, so therefore you can build up your character, build up the strength of your decisions and what you do. We hold you accountable. We teach about accountability and metrics, creating routines, habits, teach about self-discipline and leadership, and then how you can support yourself by creating a community and culture around you. And although this would normally be a $2,000 investment, your ridiculously low investment, just so that we can create a movement and we can grow fast. We just want more people in our community to be utilizing and supporting each other. Your low risk-free investment is just $147. So go to the URL that's on the page right now, and we'll and sign up. We'll send you your email, and we look forward to taking this journey together. Look, you've already started on your path. It's not time to continue. So if you could either do what you've always done, be who you've always been, get what you've always gotten, or you can decide to be more, do more, and get more in life by doing more and in doing things in a different way. So if you're that type of person, if you're committed to your future, securing a better tomorrow, then I invite you. Let's do it together. Join us. Join us on the path. We'll see you next time.